Hello everyone, I am Rupam and welcome you all to yet another episode of Intimacy. In today's episode, we'll be discussing about the whole notion of energy. In the previous episodes, we have learned what is relationship. In episode 1, how people are objectified, what are classes, objects, relationship and transaction. Then we learned about the rules and the codes and the laws. Then in the last episode, we learned about the difference between the emotions and the feelings. And in today's episode, we'll be learning about the most important part of any human interaction, any human dynamics, the existence of any human being, which is the energy. Now, a lot of people uses the words such as positive energy, negative energy. As usual, in modern day, we use the terminologies without really understanding these terminologies. And one of the core reasons why people suffer is specifically due to this half knowledges. They don't bother to go deep down into the subjects. Most people read few books and then they think that they have understood the subject well enough. They do not experiment, they do not learn the basics, and that's where the fundamental problem comes. Energy is the fundamental thing that that runs the entire universe. You need energy even for something not to happen, and for any chemical reaction, electrical actions to happen, you need energy. Energy is something with which a work is done. So energy is converted into power. Power is supplied to a machine and the machine works. A machine is something that makes human work easy. Let's put it in a very simple way. So whatever work you are doing, if there is something which makes your work very simple, then that's a machine. And a machine runs with power. So you have to supply power and the machine runs, and machine makes your work very simple. And when you give the power to the machine, it comes from a source of energy. So for example, the waterfall is an energy source. There is a significant amount of energy that it contains. You can create a hydraulic power plant and utilize the stored energy, convert it into electricity, which is a power, give it to the machine and machine runs. Sunlight contains extraordinary energy. You can use the solar power system, convert this energy into power, and you can give that power to the machines, which will then make your work simpler. Now, if we have a relationship, why do we have the relationship at the first place? Why should we have friends? Because they make our life easy, isn't it? Let's understand that you have a calculator. Without this calculator, if you have to add 5,200,2342 with $33, then that would require some bit of calculations to do. If you have a calculator, you can just put the numbers and you get the roll done. That's right, calculator is a machine. So anything that makes a human life easier, human work easier, is a machine. Every machine takes power, gives an output. That output makes our life easy. The camera that we are recording this video in is a machine. If this camera did not exist, I couldn't have reached out to so many of you. Probably I would have been delivering the seminars or teaching in a teaching hall which would be limited to fewer people. And if I had to reach more number of people, I would have to repeat this seminar, going to various seminar halls and delivering the same seminars to a lot many of you. So the camera makes my life easy, my job easy. I can record and that reaches out to many of you across the globe. So camera is a machine. It requires battery power. So connect it with battery, camera runs, and it makes my work of teaching to many of you much easier. The same way, friends makes our life easy. For example, if you have to move something, if you have to leave something, take it from one place to another place, it's very hard to do it alone if that object is heavy, but if you have a friend, both of you share, you can easily move. If I'm teaching, chances are you may not understand each and every bit. Your focus may get diverted. If 2 or 3 friends of you are sitting together, watching this lecture, trying to understand this lecture, or trying to understand this explanation, then you can discuss with each other. You will tell your story while narrating this lecture. Your friend will tell his story or her story. Then both of you will discuss and you will understand the subject in a much deeper way. So while discussing about the energy, your friend may take an example of a different machine. You may take the example of a different machine. Your friend may talk about a different source of energy. So for example, he may discuss about the solar energy, you may discuss about the hydraulic energy, right? So when you discuss sitting together in a place, then all of you understand it better. There is no scope of misunderstanding because multiple people who know each other are sharing their learning together. And that is the reason you should always make a group and watch these videos together. There is no such thing called self-learning. Coming back, so when you are attending this lecture with your friends, investing time together, and that's a meaningful utilization of your time. 2 to 3 of you are together for a purpose because you are learning the life better. And that learning becomes easier when you have a friend around. So, friendship definitely makes your life easy. Your brain is less stressed. It doesn't have to worry about whether you have understood it well enough or not. Right? Your brain would know that even if you do not understand few bits, so, there is always a friend who will explain you this. Right? So, friendship makes your life easy. Correct? So, it's a machine. Anything that makes your life easy, work easy, it's a machine. So, any relationship in term is a machine. Camera is a physical machine, right? But the relationships are psychophysiological machines, but they are machines. Your mother and your relationship, your mother is not a machine, your friend is not a machine, but the relationship between the two of you, that's a machine. Why? This machine, the relationship machine engine, serves both of you. Your mother get emotion out of you, you get emotion out of your mother. You can share your feelings and emotions with your mother. She does the same with you. So any relationship at the core is a machine, and we need relationship to make our life easy. Because if you did not have calculator, did not have the camera, if I did not have this mic, life would have been really tough. If I had to deliver the lecture to 100 people in the seminar hall, I would have to speak with an extremely loud voice. Life would have been quite hard. Because there are so many machines, we do not necessarily philosophically and psychologically understand or internalize the help that these machines are giving to us. So without the camera, mic, my life would have been quite difficult and I couldn't have been reaching out to you, possibly. The same way, without your friends around you, your life would have been quite difficult. Now, they make our life so simple that we often forget the essential and the fundamental and the fact that they're making our life simple. We then start thinking that it's us who is doing it. No. Whenever there is a relationship, however temporary it is, that's a machine that is serving both of you. And that is the relationship, that is the reason you have a relationship at the first place. A teacher and a student, it is serving both of them. It is a machine. Teaching is a machine. The teacher is understanding the world better by sharing with you. If I did not talk to you, my understanding of the world would have been much lesser. I am concentrating my ideas, thoughts while teaching to you. I'm trying to imagine you as the audience. I'm trying to make you understand. See you as the child, small child, and try to make you understand. So there are metaphors, analogies, all of these things that are coming into my mind. So I am becoming a better person by teaching. I cannot say that I'm doing a favor on you. So this teaching is serving me, and the same way this teaching is serving you. So this relationship of teaching is a machine which is serving two different purposes, to me and to you, but still it is serving a purpose. So there exists a relationship between me and you. You might not have ever seen me. I am not seeing you, I am not watching you, but I can somehow comprehend the emotions that you are going through at this moment. So this is a machine. Every relationship is a machine. And of course, without battery, mobile phone would not be working. Without electricity, bulb would not be glowing. Without without petrol, your car would not be moving. So there is an energy, and there is an energy to power conversion that has to exist for the machine to work. Okay. Now, in a human relationship, I cannot put an electrical line on my body, and you cannot put an electrical line on your body, right? It doesn't work in that way. Calculator works with a battery. The human relationship doesn't work with batteries and electricity. Unfortunately, the power that drives human relationships doesn't come from corporations, and thankfully they don't come from corporations. You cannot buy that power, you cannot buy that energy. So where does that energy come from? What is that energy that is driving me to record this lectures, to share my learning of the world with you? And what is that energy which is making you to listen to this lectures, investing your time, precious time? There has to be something, isn't it? I just simply cannot do that just to become better. If I cannot believe that there is a relationship between me and you, then I cannot record this videos. I cannot teach you. I cannot feel you. I cannot give you that expression and emotion. I cannot internalize your life. I cannot visualize you. There has to have a source of energy. And that energy should be converted into power as I am delivering these lectures, as I am trying to share the learning with you. The same way, without some energy, you wouldn't have come thus far in this video, would you? You just see and scroll the social media the way people do. These lectures are pretty long in length. Without an energy, you couldn't have paid attention even till this point of time in the video. So there is an energy which is driving, because at this moment you are requiring some power, even in understanding. Even though I am delivering the lecture, your effort is equally more, or you are putting equal amount of effort, if not more, to understand them, to try to remember this understanding, the learning. So there is a tremendous amount of effort you are giving, your brain is giving, it is trying to comprehend, it is trying to interlink this discussion with your past life. Your brain is trying to come up with examples, your brain is trying to correlate other things you have learned in life with whatever you are listening now. So your brain is trying to supply you. There is an effort, it needs sugar. So your brain is getting that energy and converting it into power for you to be able to make sense of this. So let us recap that a machine is one that makes human life easy. Every relationship is a machine that serves both the objects who shares this relationship with in a different way, but it serves equally. Just like any machine, you require a power to drive this relationship. Or just for any other power source, you require a source of energy from which this power can be generated, right? Okay. So there is a law of thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created. It can just be transferred from one form to another form. Okay. Fascinating. Energy cannot be created. You can just transform from one form to another form. So when people say that I am investing my energy, essentially what they're meaning is that again, we have diluted all the definitions. We don't get to go deep. So people say, invest your time, money, energy, emotions, blah, 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 into certain things. People say, invest energy into certain. You can't invest energy. you have to have a mechanism of converting that energy into power. You cannot invest a waterfall, can you? You cannot invest solar light or sunlight, can you? You can't. So you cannot invest energy. You have to convert that energy into power, and that conversion, after you convert it into power, you invest that power, right? So the question is, where I am getting this energy from and where you are getting this energy from. Of course, at a very simple level, I am eating my food, you are eating your food. The food is getting digested and metabolized inside our body, and the body is generating that energy out of the food in the form of glucose, in the form of protein, in the form of carbohydrate, and in the form of fat. So there are primarily four sources of energy that our body is extracting from the food. Food is like the raw petroleum. It is going inside the body, and then the body is extracting petrol, diesel, kerosene and gas, right? So when you are eating food, there is a whole process inside the body. Some other day we will also cover that. But there are four different types of energies which is getting created: protein, carbohydrate, fat, and glucose. Glucose is the immediate energy. Carbohydrate is an energy that can be converted into glucose immediately. Third is protein. Protein takes a bit more time for the body to convert it into power. And then finally there is fat, which is an energy storage. It's like a battery. You just carry the battery, power bank. You know. So fat is like a power bank. You are not requiring that at this moment, but you are carrying it in case if you run out of the battery, then you can plug in and your device will not be dying, right? So the same way, whenever you are depositing fat, when you carry power bank, it's quite thick. You do not require that at this moment, but it's increasing the weight of your body. Same way, fat, you're not requiring this at this moment, but body still stores it, so that when you require it and you do not have any other power sources, it can utilize, it can convert that fat into power and supply you. So your fat is like a power bank. That's how we eat food. Gets converted into energy, body stores it into four primary forms: protein, carbohydrate, fat, and glucose. And then when you are listening to this lecture, the body first utilizes the glucose, and then secondly, when the glucose, because brain requires glucose, yes, of course, it can also work on ketone. I'm pretty sure you might have seen some of the intermittent fasting videos, but let's not go into that. That's kind of an alternative metabolism, so for normal human beings. So brain requires glucose, as you are trying to make sense out of this video. Now, you are not watching this video and eating sugar cubes, are you? I'm pretty sure you are not, right? You had already had your food earlier, and now body is getting that carbohydrate, converting it into glucose, supplying it into your brain. So brain is the engine which is driving your part of this relationship, and it is coming from the glucose. Now, you see, the problem is, only if you have petrol, it doesn't drive your car well, does it? It requires grease. It requires bearing to function well, right? It requires engine oil. There are plenty of other liquids that goes just to run this engine well. Now your body does that with hormones. If you are to learn anything out of this lecture, your brain has to create a neuroplasticity. First, it has to make your brain receptive. Not every brain is receptive. You cannot make sense out of everybody's lecture. Not necessarily all of you are learning from these videos or you're connecting with me equally. Some of yours neuroplasticity is quite high. Those brains are desiring, are more curious, they're desiring more information, and those brains are taking these lectures in a much deeper way. So brain has to create something called neuroplasticity, which is it has to connect multiple neurons so that when the lecture comes in, it can store them temporarily. It can bring those metaphors, analogies, your experiences from the life, create a meaningful learning, retain it, so that after that brain can slowly process and put it back into your long memory. Okay, and this neuroplasticity requires many hormonal state, of course, but let us little bit simplify. It requires primarily dopamine, which is also a pleasure hormone. So whenever you feel pleased, whenever your day is good, you will learn in a better fashion. But if you have quarreled with somebody, you come and just try to see this video, you would not learn anything out of this video, right? Because because of neuroplasticity. So this neuroplasticity is the uh, engine oil, is the grease that is going into the machine. However petrol you don't have engine oil and you don't have grease, the engine is going to be locked. It is not going to be working. I may be delivering the lecture, but you will not be able to consume. Then that engine is not running, because if this video is not serving you, then it is not serving me either, right? Any relationship is a mutual benefit. It has to make both of our life easier, both of our work simpler, maybe in a different ways, but it has to do that. I have to put an energy, you have to put an energy, then my energy has to get converted into the power through which I'm delivering this speech. Your energy in body coming from food, protein, carbohydrate, glucose, fat is getting converted into power. There is a neuroplasticity, fluidity with which you are consuming, and if you learn, I have a benefit because I will feel good when you'll share comments, when you'll share your learning, whether those learnings have made any changes in your life and so on. So when you share those stories, that will give me a lot of good emotions, which will be my takeaway from this, right? So the reason that brain is utilizing, the brain is delivering this, the brain is focusing, is because brain knows at the end it may take time. It may take time for this video to reach to many of you, and then it may take further time for these videos to make any change in your life, or these videos to create any change in your life. And you may or may not come back and share those stories with me, but brain knows that there is a chance. Brain knows there is a chance. So even though it is not getting anything or anything significant at this moment, it is investing that, because even if there is nothing, there is something, which is brain is organizing itself. So we must never think that we are doing enough in a relationship. There is always a self, there is always a need. Nobody does anything for anybody else. There is no such thing as selflessness. I'm teaching you because my brain is getting organized. there is a better sense of the world my brain is doing. Rather than having a disorganized world, my brain is organizing the knowledge, information, experiences, everything. So I cannot say I'm doing any favor by taking these videos. Yes, there is a self, there is a motive. The motive is that, disorganized brain, and it haphazard. What if I say America, India, good, love, haphazard, what makes no sense? I have to construct sentences out of that, organize. Same way, while teaching, my brain is organizing the information. So I have a motive. Even though there is not a significant gain at this moment, I have this motive because brain is feeling happy because it is able to organize the things as I am teaching. So it is making its life simpler. Now, taking this analogy back, the same way, you know that if you understand the world better, probably you can use that knowledge well in your interaction with the humans, isn't it? That's the reason you are attending these lectures. Whether you know me or do not know me, you are feeling those emotions. Your brain is getting something out. Even though the change has not happened in your life yet, your brain is investing the power, the energy, some carbohydrate was stored. You could have done any other things, but your brain is now converting those carbohydrates into glucose, supplying it to your brain, giving your brain enough neuroplasticity for you to be able to consume this information. Now, this information and the lecture at this moment of time is making no change whatsoever in your life. However, you are still feeling the emotions that I am giving you, don't you? If you are not feeling me, you wouldn't have come this far listening to the video. Am I right? It is not that from everybody, it's not everybody we can feel. If only you are feeling me, you are feeling yourself, you are feeling a sense of emotion, you're feeling a calmness, comfort, and that's something which is making you to listen to this lecture. So the way I am not gaining the bigger pie as of immediately as the change in your life hasn't happened, and you have not shared those stories, and you are not getting anything big because not yet you have applied these learnings into your life. But there is still some immediate gain. My brain is organizing the information and you are getting that feelings. You understand there is somebody who is there in the world who is answering my questions. So there is an immediate gain. You and I both are getting. Without that immediate gain, your brain would not be investing for the future. There has to be an immediate short-term gain. And then there is a possible long-term gain. That's why there is this relationship. Same way, all the relationships in your life is like a machine, is like an engine. Those engines requires grease, which is your hormone, and the other person's hormone. Alright? Those machines require energy, your energy, other person's energy. Those machines require ability for energy to be converted into power, your energy to be converted into power, the other person's energy to be converted into power. then all those relationships needs you to be able to function in your side, the other person to be able to function on his or her side. The problem is, if there are four tires in a car, if two tires are punctured, the other two tires cannot complain that, okay, you guys are punctured, you should fix yourself. Whenever one entity, either me or you, are not functioning optimally in our relationship, this relationship doesn't work, isn't it? I'll get confused while taking these lectures and I'll close down the video. You'll get bored, frustrated, and you'll turn off the video, you'll leave away. So for this relationship to work, there has to be an energy at my side that gets converted into power, that produces right output, which is not only the word but my emotions should come through my expression. At your side, there has to be a neuroplasticity that receives not only word but that emotion. Then it has to store that and utilize that. So your neuroplasticity has to work. My brain's organization ability has to work. Your requirement for emotion has to be there. My ability to express my emotion through expression so that you can consume that has to be there. Your quest and curiosity for knowledge has to be there. My drive to teach has to be there. My higher purpose that someday it will make some change in your life. You will come back and share those stories which will make me feel a better human. That expectation from you has to be there. Your expectation of the higher purpose that if I learn, then that will be used someday has to be there. So, relationship is a machine. There are two entities, two sides of the machine. Both has to work. It is not equal. Remember, both has to have their energy. One has to have production energy. One has to have reception energy. That energy has to be converted into power at both ends. There has to be grease and other hormones at both ends. Then there has to be right way of transmission. So between our relationship, the transmission is through the words, through the sentences, through the language. So language is working like that electrical wire that is connecting me and you. In every relationship, that language is the conduction wire. So your energy and the other person's energy then creates this engine called a machine. Right? Remember, my energy, the energy, glucose is a source of energy. It is not really the energy. Energy is at the quantum level. So whatever glucose that is going inside my brain, it is generating an energy. Even if you are not with me in the physical contact, the same amount of energy is being received by your brain and it is giving you the energy. So if you learn something new, your life will become easier. So as I am speaking, the glucose is going inside the brain and the quantum energy is getting produced. Even if you are not with me in the physical touch, not in the proximity, you are still getting a part of that energy. Fraction, because your brain is investing glucose and a quantum energy is getting created in your brain. So if you are producing 1000 unit of energy and if 1000 of you have received even one bit of that energy at the quantum level, then the rule of thermodynamics is made. Interestingly, if there is 1 lakh of you, if this video goes so big, so many people understand, then more energy is being produced by investing less energy, but you cannot retain that energy inside you. The quantum energy, you'll feel so motivated, so good, so positive, that you will go out and you will try to share this with somebody. You will give part of that. That's how energy flows from one entity to another entity. It changes the forms. When I ate food, it was in the form of a preserved food energy. Then body generated carbohydrate, protein, fat and glucose. Then as I am delivering the lecture, it's getting converted into ATPs, ADPs. Let me not come into that as of now. Let's say there is a quantum level energy. In your side, same thing is happening. So the food that I ate, that is getting transferred to your side in certain ways and then from your side to another way. And that's how relationship works with energy. Now, if you are not pleased, if you are having mood swings, you cannot understand anything out of this. You will not be interested in this lecture. There is no conversion from my side to your side. It is not working, isn't it? So, the relationship works only when the energy of one form can be transferred into another form. Hydraulic energy cannot be utilized by a nuclear power plant, isn't it? So the teaching engine requires two sides, the teacher and the student. Both has to have their energies. And then through the teaching, energy is transmitted from the teacher to the student. Now, taking this theory back into your life, think about every relationship as an engine. Think how the grease and the fuel is there on the other side, on your side. From today onwards, stop thinking that you are doing anything for anyone. Whatever you are doing it for yourself. Because you can't store energy. That's of no use. You have to convert it into power, give it to somebody else, and then somehow it is going to again come back to you. And this is the cycle that keeps you alive, not the storage of energy. If you eat a lot and then sleep, do nothing, you'll die. Because there is no transfer of the energy. So in a relationship, the most important part is the transfer of the energy. Always remember, you can't use nuclear reactor to convert hydraulic energy into electricity. You cannot put your mobile phone without an adapter directly to the 230 which ensures that the energy is transferred. That's the core of the relationship. That's the law which is governing the relationship. So, in this video, we learned what is energy and how energy plays a role in the relationship. I would suggest you that you go back and look at all of your relationship and try to look for your short-term gain and possible long-term return from that relationship. What energy you are giving. For example, I am giving teaching energy and you are getting student energy, learning energy. What energy you are giving and what energy you are expecting. Make a table of all your relationships. The energy you are giving, the energy you are expecting other persons to have. When you do this list, it's not for going and telling the other person that I expect you to be a good student. No. It is to understand yourself better. Understanding yourself better makes you a more efficient engine that can convert your food energy into power as and when required with sufficient amount of grease, better than the other. Thank you for investing your time, energy and emotion into listening to me, into trying to understand this lecture. That's all for today. See you in the next episode.